right, guys, I'm getting myself back in the swing. I'm going to have to cover some news today. I don't really want to, but got to. I'm going to do some information about the defense, looking at the Ravens defense and what really supplied that defense and what we're going to need this year to get this defense to run, because it is going to be a Ravens-like defense. I'm sure with some minor tweaks. Then I'm going to get into some drama talk. I think some of it's valuable and some of it's not, but you got to cover it. So I'm going to get into the OTAs. There's talk about Tua not being there, certain people not being there. And then there's a talk of Holland talking about Fangio. So I don't know. I'm going to get into that stuff right up front. It does tie into some of the legitimate stuff, but that'll be the deal today. Going to get in Friday, talk about the offense with the live. Satellite's supposed to be here soon. AC's on its way. So everything's kind of moving forward. So, guys, I got that. I'm going to do something for the members, too. I'm going to do that over the weekend. I'm still trying to plan it out. If you guys, a few of you out there that are members, I'm trying to serve you. So contact me at curtis@aceperhead.com if you want anything answered, any specific stuff, whether it's film or whether it's just talk or whatever. I'll get the specifics anyway. I'm going to see if I can try to find a way to contact you guys. Maybe there is, but I'm a tech idiot. So that's it, guys, for today. I really appreciate all you do. Like, subscribes, the comments, the views, especially the comments, all that stuff. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That's how I stay in business. If you have subscribed, hit the notification bell so when I do my thing and a dingling rings, then you can come check out Curtis the Monkey. So that's it, guys. I want to give you a shout out and shout out to Aceperhead, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Aceperhead's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so it is OTAs, and it's voluntary. And some people say, well, it didn't show up, it's voluntary. Well, the point is you have free will and you choose to go or you choose not to go. Why would you choose not to go? I'm sure there's some reasons for that. But when you got a lot of guys, you saw a bunch of guys that weren't really here. And so, you got to ask yourself, is that really the best thing for success? This team kind of collapsed. They were in a change with coordinators on defense. You've got a lot of new key pieces being installed on this offense. You need everything you can get to be successful. And I'm not saying that these guys are bad or it's going to kill us, but is this free will, this choice to show or not to show, is it helping us get better or is it not? That's for you to find out. Hold on a second. I forgot I wrote it down on this, but not this. Tua, Hill, Waddle, OBJ, Mostert, Ramsey, Smythe, I think, Sealer, Smith, Jonnu Smith, Sealer, Fuller, and Barrett didn't show. These are a lot of veterans. But again, McDaniel's offense, it's a little bit complicated. You're trying to be very successful this season. Why not show? Now, Tua not showing. He showed up first day. Second day, he had a golfing engagement. Was that on purpose? Is he holding out? I know McDaniel asked if it was a holdout for the contract. He says, I don't put words in the guy's mouth. Why don't you ask him? And if it wasn't, he would just simply say, no, it's not. Well, maybe he says this, and it's, I don't know. You got to figure these Tua and the Dolphins are vying for a very big contract to get it worked out to each one's advantage. Hopefully it's to both advantages. This stuff is normal. I kind of understand Tua. But a lot of these other guys, I really wish they showed up. You saw Jordan Brooks, who I'm really starting to like. He's like, it's mandatory for me to be here. And that's the spirit that you want. I mean, that's the kind of spirit you want. I understand you've been to a lot of these things. I understand that you're a vet and all this other stuff. But there's other guys that are rookies. And it's the chemistry and just trying to make sure you're getting better every single day. Yes, it's voluntary, but you'd want them to voluntarily show up. So another little thing came out. It was just, I think it was more of just not really thinking about what you're saying. Cam Smith said he wants to attack the offense if he wasn't satisfied with last year. He shouldn't be satisfied with last year. It wasn't successful. He was injured a lot. He had some problems. You could say Fangio held him out. I don't think that's the case. And however you slice it, it wasn't a satisfactory season. I think he didn't mean what he said, but some people are making a big deal out of it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how he plays this year. Give the kid time. It's one sentence. You can't build a whole thing over it. And then there's the Fangio Holland thing. I am a big fan of Jevon Holland. I love his family. I love his intelligence. I love everything about him. I didn't love what he was saying here. It was kind of like paint by numbers, by not saying, like, Bruce Lee do without doing. Basically saying Fangio is a bad guy. Weaver's a great guy. We're doing a 180. And, some people are saying, well, was Holland bad? Or I don't know. I just think that this was unnecessary. And it's always the same. You notice when people here, they leave and they're like the worst guy in the world. Flores was a terrible guy, but when Flores left, he never really buried anybody. And we found out, maybe he wasn't the best guy, but we didn't hear when he left that, Greer was getting rid of Van Noy to spite him and let Flowers walk and whoever knows what else. We were blaming Watson on Flores, and he wasn't involved in that. So there's a lot of stuff that he could have thrown out on his way out, but he just kind of kept silent and left. And now you're finding out, at least from Omar Kelly or whatever, he said really most people didn't dislike Flores. It was really mostly about Tua not like him because Flores was getting into him, and Austin Jackson. So it wasn't as bad as it presented, but he was presented as like dead bodies in the basement. Now, Fangio is the guy getting the dead bodies in the basement. And if you notice, Fangio could have buried these guys. Not to say he would be telling the truth, but he could have said, oh, these guys are lazy. Look at all this plagiarism and failure. I mean, he could have said all this stuff. I mean, when you go back over the film, yeah, Fangio wasn't perfect. But there was a lot of plagiarism and failure where these guys, supposedly who didn't like them, made mistakes. They didn't do their job. They missed their assignments. Does it mean they're bad people and not good players? No. But still, you got to take ownership. Did they ever take ownership yet? And I don't like this. Fangio said, I didn't see it all really talking about the issues with his former players. Anything we do, whether there, here, or anywhere I've been, is what we think is best for the team and best for the defense, specifically to stop somebody. Wherever that falls, that's where it falls. And you look at, look at Flores, how good he is. And he left, and then Boyer took over. And I think Boyer got screwed a little bit because he had a lot of injuries. I didn't think Boyer did as bad. I just don't think Boyer was as creative and excellent as Flores. But then he left, and then we brought Fangio in, and you can compare Boyer to Fangio. And Fangio had some more pieces than Boyer, but Boyer had plenty of pieces too. But we went from yards per game from 19th to 11th. Third down conversions, 31st to 13th. Sacks, 8th to 2nd, and we broke a franchise record. But in doing so, we blitzed 33.3% of the time last year and dropped to 21.5% and increased our sacks and broke the record. That's a big deal. That's not like this guy's a total chump as far as the DC. And then ints per game went from 29th to 14th. Penalties went from 28th to 20th. So Fangio came in. Ramsey went down. He lost Chubb. He lost Phillips. He lost Van Ginkel at a certain point. This defense delivered just about every single game. You could talk about the Titans game, but they're the ones who put the points on to get us ahead. The offense didn't do it. The offense didn't get a first down on those last two drives, but you weren't painting on. But everything else, when he was down Chubb, when he was down Phillips, he brought guys in off the street that didn't even know was showing up. This defense played well. And I just wanted Holland to say, hey, you know what? I didn't like the way he did things. I think he could have done it differently. We had success. I understand his vision, but I prefer this. Instead of castigating him, because no one ever said Fangio was a bad guy before this. He's got a long track history. Greer hired him. He should know. And I'm willing to bet that when he goes to Philly, he's going to have a great season. He's going to do really well. And it puts more pressure on Weaver to reach these numbers. That defense was really good considering all things considered. So I just wish, I really like Holland. I just don't like how it has played out. But, we'll see. If Weaver is a 180, then we're going to have a better season last year and things are going to go really well. And I hope so. But I just don't know why good guys come here and maybe they're hard and we want the player-friendly guy, but they don't have to leave and be monsters. So I was a little down on that. Now, one of the things I want to get into as far as numbers is if you look at the Ravens defense, that defense was very dependent because it's such a small front. They like to come out light. They come thin on first down. They're very dependent on time of possession and rushing attempts. The rushing attempts kind of fuel the time of possession. Now, maybe we can get that throwing the football. Maybe we can get that running just a little bit more. And it wasn't that big a difference. But if you look at the Ravens, time of possession in 2023, they were 9th at 31 minutes. We were 15th at 30 minutes. Not that big a deal, but it can be as time goes on, as the season goes on. But even if you look at the last game of both teams, their time of possession fell from 22 to 22:30 for the Ravens, from 31, and then for us, basically 30 minutes to 26 minutes in our last game. And you could see how that lack of time of possession really affected things. And this team's going to have time of possession. We have to have much less 3 and outs. We have to be less big play and more consistency to fuel this style of defense. Fangio, his defense was a little more resilient to lack of time of possession. This Ravens defense that's being imported over here with the loss of Wilkins makes it a little bit more vulnerable. This is why I think we brought in the new running back. I think this is why we've got all this big stock of running backs. You add a tight end. All these things can really help us with our time of possession to get these first downs, to keep the ball moving, to get some good run game going. Now, when you look at Baltimore, they were last year, as a comparison, their time of possession was 7th. Ours was 5th in 22, and theirs was 3rd in 21. So you can see from a time frame, time of possession is big for this team. Houston, where Weaver was the defensive coordinator, they were 32nd in time of possession, and you can see they really struggled. When you want to run these kind of styles, these 3-4, you want to run more pass-style offenses, you've got to not be on the field all day because these guys are going to get beat up, they're going to get injured. And if you look at the rushing attempts, Baltimore also had very high in rushing attempts. Ours were middle of the pack. But when you go look at the games that we lost, our rushing attempts dropped. Same thing with Baltimore. Their last game, I think ours, we dropped like 25 attempts a game to 17 against KC. And you can see how that felt. With the Baltimore against KC, they went from like 30 or 31 to like 16 or something like that, 16, 17. And you could see how that felt. So running the football, attempts, time of possession is critical for this defense. And so I think that Fangio did a very good job. He's a hard-nosed guy. He's old school. Does that mean he's a bad guy? He had success. Maybe he wasn't, your best friend, but the production on the field was really good. And so I'm hoping we get best of both worlds. I'm hoping Weaver is the guy the players love, and he's a really fun guy in interviews, and then we have great production. But if he's the fun guy in interviews and the players love him, but you don't get the production, this is a production business. You go to any pit inside a stock exchange or any big corporation, and it's not about being best friends with your leaders and with your bosses. It's about production and it's about success. So I'm hoping that we get the best of both worlds. But guys, this is a big year. We're going to need this offense. I did the whole study on the defensive tackles, how there's a lot of pass rush guys here. So this offense, in its ability to score, its ability to get ahead, to allow the pass rushers to get on point and just attack opposing offenses. But then the rushing attempts and time of possession is going to be critical too, because too many close games means too many running attempts against this smaller defense and wearing these guys out. And it's at the end of the season, you don't want guys worn out. We had way too many close games against tough teams, and that beats these defenses up. As I said for a very long time, rested defenses make plays. Tired defense give up plays. So that's it, guys. I got some more stuff coming. I'm trying to get the film on Patrick Paul, studying his breakdown. I'm trying a new technique. It's a little bit of a tech curve for me. So it's slowed me down a little bit, but that's coming. It's coming. I'm working on it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. I almost stumbled on that one, Garrett. I'm getting there. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.